In this video, we're going to try and work out, does an employee know the purpose of a compliance system? We go and document these systems, but does the employee actually understand how they fit into the system and what their responsibilities are? We're doing a series of 7 videos where we've got our partners together from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and we're going to ask them a series of questions. Stick around, because at the end we're going to hear from our UK partners, and they may have a slightly different approach to these questions. So Michael, I know that you've got some strong feelings about this particular question, so over to you.
The best way is obviously going to be have someone who understands the purpose of compliance themselves explain that in a clear and concise way to the employees. Obviously, as we've discussed with a number of these issues, we do have this issue, it's probably a worldwide issue, where compliance is becoming a little bit of a get the job done, tick my compliance box and off we go. And if that's coming from top management, it's going to filter down to that employee level. So as consultants here, we can start to influence the top a little bit more to understand that we can do value add with our compliance. Then hopefully it starts from the top, it'll go down to the next level of management, and those ideas will go down to the employee level as well. And they might start to understand that compliance does actually have some value, and it can actually be used to improve companies' bottom line, those sorts of things. Anyone else want to help me out a bit?
It really is the wider group of employees' involvement and participation in the compliance system.
Okay,
If they're genuinely involved and they genuinely participate in the compliance system, then that knowledge will come progressively.
Perhaps that's actually is that concept of it being genuine. I think there is a wide perception out there that compliance is not genuine. We get our ticks and what have you, and there's, the employee group is a little bit, they're just doing this to cover their butts type thing. But if we can portray that we are actually doing this for really good reasons, we might actually start to get some.
I think if it can be explained also that it's part of the risk management process. The only difference is that instead of them making decisions about the risk at the coalface, what's happened is that the legislators, etc., have made decisions that risk is unacceptable. So therefore, through compliance, they're actually starting to try and manage the risk to the employee. So it's actually a risk mitigation or a risk reduction strategy. So it's part of the risk management process. It's just that it's been done at a bit higher level. I think that also helps.
We've been on quite an interesting journey, particularly around this issue. For me, it comes down to values, and it's not just the value of compliance, because everybody talks about the values of the business, and how can you expect people across a broad strata within the organization? So we've got people, men and women, coming in from informal settlements where there may not be a great value for life or the environment, where there's litter and pollution and those type of impacts, to come into a working organization and then to adhere to a common set of values within the organization. So for us, it's been taking people on a journey of achieving a common set of values. And one of the fundamentals of that is the value of human life, the value of a human as an individual. And a lot of that comes down from management and the way that they treat workers at any level within the organization, making sure that they understand that they are safe, that they are valued, etc. Because you can never, I don't think you'll ever get a person to value the product or the service that they render if they don't have a value for their own life or understand their own intrinsic value. So I think that's been a very interesting journey for us.
My approach to it is, taking the step back and say, what is a compliance? It's driven from customers, regulatory bodies, government, so that it's in one word, is in one sentence, is doing it right, doing what's expected. I think it's if we're expecting everyone to comply within a company, we actually need to define what compliance means to them, and in their role, there's no point of, but there's always a point in explaining things to people, but some people are just not interested, So on a shop floor level, they're not interested on how you manage your contractors and how frequently you evaluate their insurance documents and all of that. What's relevant to them is that if you see a contractor here, and if they haven't signed in, and if they don't have the visitor high vis, you need to report it, or you need to talk to them if you see they're not wearing the correct PPE. You know, just making it relevant to them and what's explaining it to them what's expected from them, because in different levels of the organization there are just different expectations of complying with that big compliance term that we're talking about, and it's just really making it clear to people to what's expected from them.
As mentioned at the beginning of the video, we're going to go to our UK partners and ask them what in the Northern Hemisphere is a good way of understanding whether that knowledge has been passed over.
I've often found it useful in delivering awareness training to position it so that people understand what's in it for them. And if that means actually winning more work means more job security, which means more work, actually that can really help, because then people understand what's in it for them. Comply with the system, there's a job.
Yeah, I think you just got to be completely honest and open about the reasons why you're doing things as well. You know, most people, you know, we're all people as well, and somebody someday said to us, this is what we're doing, and we decided to make careers of it. But yeah, it's because we understand the importance of it, things that sit behind it, and we believe in what we do. And most people kind of will fall into that category, provided you're open and honest about the reasons why you're doing it. Not necessarily the fluffy lines people like to hear, but the real reasons why you want to sort of follow a ISO route, or have a particular focus on environmental or health and safety or quality. It's just being open with people about it, however that's delivered. But
yeah, picking up what Jodie said, that's typically what I would do as well, is I would use examples of how the benefit to them. So yes, jobs and so on, but actually I would go a level deeper again. An example of that was last month, working with a manufacturing company in Aberdeen. We were speaking to the machine operators and talking to them about the new system compliance requirements and all the rest of it, but we actually took it down to the level of them. So if something fails in their machine, what the impact of what that means. So lost production time, and actually, or a failure that is not caught and goes out to the customer. So we actually did a full root cause analysis with them for them to understand, you know, this happens here and it looks like nothing to you, it looks very small and insignificant, but the knock-on effect could be who's impacted, the number of people involved, the cost to the business, and ultimately if you keep having these things, you start losing contracts, you start losing workers, as opposed to actually if we're better at this and we're more effective at it, we actually gain more business and long-term employment. So making it more about their understanding at their level, I think that's the best way of demonstrating it to employees.
Cool. So if you enjoyed this video, look at these ones. These are our previous videos, and you might get some more value out of them. Thank you.